What's going on YouTube? Paul here, and this is my second video blog about teaching English in Korea through the EPIK program. And after watching my first video, I realized I spoke for entirely way too long. So I wanted to make this as short and sweet as I possibly could. So I'm just going to talk about the benefits today, just the benefits of coming to Korea. Now, by far, once you start researching teaching English overseas, you'll first come across, obviously, like benefits of teaching in Thailand, benefits of teaching in Japan, benefits of teaching in China, benefits of teaching in Vietnam. Korea by far has the best, hands down, benefits for teaching English in that country and in Asia. Like, the cost of living here is really cheap. So what they give you in terms of salary and bonuses and coverage for medical and pension, it's really, really generous. It's really generous. And you can save a lot of money here. So I'm just going to run down some of the basic information that you would need about teaching English in Korea through the EPIK program. And a lot of these benefits are actually like the same with like Hagwons and international schools. Well, maybe not international schools, but most specifically like EPIK and your Hagwons. They all kind of have the same package, really, in terms of benefits. So first, your airfare to Korea and from Korea is going to be covered completely. So when you decide to fly out from your state or province, your flight will be covered to Korea. And when you're finished with your contract, your flight will be covered back home. But, surprise, surprise, as in everything in Korea, there's some things that you need to know. You're going to have to pay it up front. So, yes, your airfare is going to be covered to Korea and going home. But what they don't tell you is that you have to pay for that up front, and then they're going to reimburse you. So I didn't know that. And, once I started applying to my program, my recruiter told me, oh yeah, your flight's going to be covered and everything. And then he drops a bombshell on me kind of close to when I'm supposed to sign saying, oh, I hope I told you this, but, just to reiterate, you're going to have to pay up front for your flight, and then you're going to get reimbursed in your first month's paycheck once you get to Korea. And I was like, dude, what the hell, man? Like, how are you going to drop that bomb on me once I finish all this paperwork and hassle of getting all the paperwork together? And, I was kind of upset about that, and I was like, dude, how do I know I'm going to get paid? Like, you're not going to specifically pay me. Your recruiting company's not paying me. EPIK is. And I'm not talking to anyone through EPIK, so how is that a guarantee? And he said, oh, it's in your contract. Everything that's in your contract is taken care of. And, that's only so reassuring when you are deciding to take this leap of faith and you have to put all your money into that flight. You just hope that you come out on top and that people are being really fair about what they're saying and they're going to follow up on what they're saying, or at least what's on paper. And luckily they were. So I did get to Korea, and I had to pay the $1,100 to come to Korea. You get about $1,300 for your flight budget for coming to Korea, and you get an additional $1,300 going home. So my flight from New York City was around $1,100, and that was pretty cheap, to be honest. I saw flights for a little cheaper, but I decided to go with the $1,100 because it was just a better flight time, and I could spend more time with my family at a more opportune time of the day. But you do as you please. You get at least $1,300. Which is more than enough. I don't know anybody that paid more than $1,300 for a flight at all, unless you were in first class. But nobody did that. You got to be a real weirdo to decide to go first class when you're paying it and you're only getting paid $1,300 as reimbursement, whatever. But yeah. So I got to the EPIK orientation, and they tell me, like, oh yeah, everyone's flight is gonna be covered. No problem. But people from Busan, which is the city that I was placed in, you will have to wait an additional 6 months. So everyone was like, their jaw, like, literally dropped. They're like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, I paid my flight to get here, and you dropped this bomb on me once I'm already in Korea, and I can't really do anything about it, that lo and behold, I have to wait until February and March to get paid? Like, what the hell's going on? No one else in the program had that kind of problem. It was only people from Busan. So I don't know why they decided to pick on people from Busan that day, but ever since then, it's always been like a rule of thumb that if you're coming into Busan, something with the Busan Ministry of Education, maybe their budget's off, or I don't know, they just want to, I don't know, I really have no explanation as to why it takes so long for them to process that we've been here and to give us our money back for our flight. So just keep that in mind. And same thing with going home, you know, like when you decide that you're ready to go home after finishing your contract, they'll fly you back to your state or province, but you got to pay it up front, and then they're going to pay you back. They're going to reimburse you into your American account. And as far as I've heard, no one's had any problems with that. So at least when they say they're going to pay you, they're going to pay you. It just may take a month until they actually do it. Next, you get free rent. So your apartments are completely covered. The only thing that you're going to pay for your apartment is your utilities. So like your heat, your water, and electric bill. Those are all things that you're going to pay out of pocket. And those are all, again, really cheap. Like I think for all my utilities a month, I pay like less than like maybe 50,000 won, and that fluctuates based on if it's winter, if I'm using the heat more, if it's summer, I'm using the air conditioning more. So it always equals out to around $50 or so a month. Next is the medical coverage. So the medical here is pretty freaking sweet. They have a universal healthcare system in Korea. So if you're sick and need to go to the doctor, it costs about like $6 to see the doctor, and around maybe $2 to $5 for a prescription. And it's really cheap. Usually there's like prescription stores like right underneath the hospital. And you get your slip, go right down, and everything's taken care of. It's really efficient and pretty freaking good. Just be wary that, like, if you are really, really sick, or if you break an arm or something, call your co-teacher to go with you to the hospital, because if you don't speak the language, they're going to over-medicate you. And that's something that they tend to do in Korea, is try to over-medicate people to try and take more money from them. So just be conscious of that. If you're really ill, or if you broke something, definitely have like a Korean friend or your Korean co-teacher go with you to help you, just because you don't want to be taken advantage of. All right, next is your pension plan. So each month, I get $100 taken out of my salary, and the school matches that $100, and it's put into like a little nest egg, and every month it accumulates and gets bigger and bigger, bigger, bigger. So at the end of my contract, at my 2-year contract in August, I will have X amount of dollars saved up that I've been contributing every month, $100, and my school has matched me every month, and I get to keep that tax-free. Which is pretty sweet. A lot of people use that for traveling. A lot of people use that to go to grad school. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I'll probably use it to pay bills in some fashion. I don't know. All right. Next is the low taxes. So in Korea, because I'm an American, I don't pay any taxes. I'm covered up to 2 years. So I don't pay any Korean income tax for 2 years. Although I still have to fill out an income tax form through the IRS in the United States, I'm not getting taxed by Korea. All right, and you can research more about that online. There's a bunch of information on the IRS website that, as an expatriate living in and working in another country, you can file for separate paperwork. Personally, I'm not an expert on that information, so I don't really know a lot about it. So you'd have to kind of do your own research about it. I just know that you get 2 years of non-taxable income by the Korean government. And I also think that's for the United States as well. So, next big one, vacation. Your vacation is hooked up. Like, I think it is the best vacation package of all of the programs in Korea that I know of, at least EPIK versus Hagwons. You get 2 weeks of vacation, paid vacation. You get 10 days in the winter and 5 days in the summer. And those are not including weekends. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so on. You also get around 10 to 14 national holidays, and those fluctuate based on calendar year. So some years you'll have more, some years you'll have less, but you can ballpark it'll be around 10 to 14. So in total vacation, you're looking at like almost, let's see here, 14th. It was like a couple weeks, man. Like, honestly, like 2 weeks for vacation, for paid vacation, then maybe 2 weeks. So 4 weeks total, possibly, paid vacation. It's pretty sweet. Like, I also got off this year for my school's birthday. I don't know why I did that, but it was my school's birthday, I guess, like the founding day of the school. I work in an elementary school, and my principal gave everyone off. We had like ceremonies, and the day before, I was like, yeah, everyone's cool not to come in, and you can just mellow out. And I took the day and went to the beach and just sat at the beach all day long. It was great, and I got paid for it. I got paid to sit at the beach. It was sweet. Next is your severance pay. So at the completion of your contract, you will be given a severance pay, which is a bonus of equal to 1 month's salary for completing your contract. So when you complete your contract, you are entitled towards receiving a severance pay, which is a bonus of 1 month's salary. Again, that's huge. It's a big chunk of money in your pocket to travel with or pay some bills. Next, the cost of living. So just give like a basic understanding of like how to judge the cost of living for any country. Doesn't have to just be Korea. It could be any country. Go to a convenience store when you're traveling and walk into the convenience store and immediately go to the beer section. Even if you're not a beer drinker or whatever, see how much the lowest priced beer is and convert that into dollars. And if the beer is really cheap, then the cost of living is very cheap. They're very much balanced. So if the cost of living is cheap, the beer is also really cheap. If you look at Japan, the cost of living is very high, the cost of beer is very high. In Korea, the cost of living is very low, the cost of beer is very low, which makes me a very happy man because I like beer. But I don't like Korean beer. Korean beer is really, really shitty. There's like 4 breweries, like big, massive breweries, and they all taste the fucking same. And they all taste like shit, really. It tastes like college keg beer, man. And most of the time it's enough to get you by because it's so cheap. You have Cass, which is like their Budweiser. Everyone drinks Cass. You have your Height, your Golden Lager, and your Max. Personally, out of the 4, I'll drink Cass. If I'm really freaking desperate, I'll drink Cass. Just because it's cheap. A pint of that's like $2 or whatever. It's really dirt cheap. Sometimes it's even $1 if you're lucky. It's really dirt cheap. The beer is really inexpensive here. Okay, next, the overtime pay. I don't know a lot of people that have had to deal with overtime pay. I personally have never had to experience it, but I get direct deposited money every 25th of every month. So every time it's payday, my money is direct deposited into my account. And I don't get any pay stub or pay slip. It's just direct deposited, which is a good thing. It's also a bad thing because I can't really keep track to see if they're actually paying me the accurate amount. But I know that they are because I have a good relationship with the payroll people at my school, and I always kind of bother them a little bit to make sure that I'm getting paid correctly and they're not taking out taxes because they always seem to forget. So I'm constantly down there bitching at them about it, and not bitching, but just like, it's like, dude, I come here, I've been here for almost 2 years, dude, and you're still forgetting that I'm not being taxed. Like, so yeah, whatever. So if you are doing overtime, which is 120 plus hours a month, if you're teaching over that or working beyond 120 plus hours, you are therefore entitled to overtime pay, which is between $18 and $25 per 50-minute class. So every 50-minute class you teach, you are entitled to an additional $18 to $25 for doing so, which is pretty sweet. It's pretty generous. And last, I'll just tell you how many classes I teach a week and what you can expect to teach a week. So in middle school, which odds are you'll be placed in middle school, because there's more positions for middle school than there are for middle and high school. Plus, you wouldn't really want middle and high school, to be honest with you. Elementary is where it's at least for me. It's freaking fun. You get to be a really positive role model for the kids, and you get to have fun. And 9 times out of 10, they're enthusiastic about learning English and practicing English and being really interactive with you. You can take their energy and put that towards an activity, and it just flows well. That's the huge disadvantage to like middle school and high school is these poor kids don't really have the effort and energy to do an activity because they're so stressed out with studying for their math test or going after school to piano classes. Like, friends of mine were telling me that when they were in Korean friends of mine were telling me that when they were in high school, they were up at like 6 in the morning, and after school they'd go to academy, whether that's a science academy, whether that's a math academy, English academy, or piano academy. They go to sports, and they don't get home till around 10 o'clock at night, and then that's when they start to do their homework for their classes the next day. So it's a pretty tough life, man. These kids have a really stressful learning environment here. The culture here is really stressful, and the parents really push the kids. They really push the kids. So the older they get, the less motivated they are. And when you get them in like third and fourth grade, they're excellent. They got a great amount of energy, and they're just so cute. They're just adorable. Like, they really are. Third and fourth graders are just the sweetest things on earth, man. Like, they melt your heart. I swear to God. I teach on Monday and Tuesday, third and fourth grade, and I actually look forward to those days more than any days of the week, because they're just so cute and so funny, and the things that come out of their mouth is just like, they don't realize like what they're saying. So like in English, it comes out really funny, and they just have great personalities. The personalities on these kids are great. It's fun. But in general, you can look to teach 22 classes a week, and I teach from 9 o'clock, and my latest class is around like 2 o'clock, 2:30 at the very latest. So 9 to 2:30, which is like a typical school day. But I have to be in school from 8:40 to 4:40. And the time that I'm not teaching, I have to be preparing for my next lesson. But to be honest with you, I'm not really doing that. Not that I'm a shitty planner or a shitty teacher. I typically plan like a week in advance for things, so that way I can, if I need to print things out, like paperwork and graphic organizers, or get some materials organized, it takes a little bit of time to send it and get it printed, especially a couple hundred copies of it. So I tend to do things a week in advance, and like most of the time I'm just bullshitting around, man. Just screwing around on Facebook, or like writing emails to all my friends back home, or doing YouTube videos about teaching English in Korea. But yeah, so that's what you can expect. Like, those are the benefits of teaching English in Korea. Again, it's highly rewarding. If you have any general questions and you want me to go into depth about something specific, whether it be airfare, rent, medical coverage, pension plan, the taxes, vacation, severance pay, cost of living, overtime, or class week schedule, just ask below and I'll do a video on it, or I'll just respond to you immediately or as soon as I can. But hopefully this video is not as long, and it's pretty much almost as long as the last one, but whatever. Hopefully this information is helpful for you. Like, I'm trying to do the best that I can and be as honest as I can with you. It's not all sunshine and rainbows here. You definitely have to take the good with the bad. And once I finish talking about some of the basic information for teaching English in Korea, I'll start talking about some of my personal experiences and give you some really good, honest information. But this is just common knowledge, just going over common knowledge with you and giving my perspective on the common knowledge. But all right, hopefully this didn't bore the shit out of you. Until next time, later.